The
Probably
five
when I
of
do
those
that,
on
you could drop it together.
Hey, but get that thing there. I think
6:30.
Mike Jackson wears.
Okay. Termination of quorum, roll call.
Elena. Here. Jordan.
Present.
Tyler.
Here.
Tommy.
Here.
George.
Here.
John.
Here.
Courtney.
Here.
Need to order, anybody want to lead us in a prayer?
I got you. Most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, I just thank you for another wonderful day, Lord. Father, thank you for the blessings you pour out on us, God, the ones we're aware of, but God, most importantly, the ones we're not. Lord, I just ask you to give us strength to do the things that you want us to do, God, and the knowledge to lead the way, Father, in front of everybody. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, really?
How are you, Elaine? It's sunburn.
Approval of minutes for
Get myself sunburned.
February the 10th.
From your hand, but I had a fever and everything yesterday.
I make a motion to approve the minute.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
And y'all don't have financials this time.
Yeah, I figured that out.
Trying something different. Stop handing out real quick. So I'll either get them out to you in about a week or next regular meeting, going all the way back to January.
Okay. Electric County Water Project update.
Only real update I have this time is we still need to get your all rate study done. RCAP will do that for y'all, and we're still continuing to work with HUD on the environmental. That's kind of where we're at right now. So
Who called about the rate?
He came in, he's supposed to be coming back again.
Roy would have been his name probably.
What?
Roy.
Gray-headed guy?
But we got to get that done so that we can get your all's water purchase agreement.
Some of that stuff that he has to have comes from the auditor. He said he would just work directly with him to get it.
And our auditor's pretty good about working with people.
Our auditor got burnout.
We got flooded once and then burnout the next time.
Yeah, he's had a rough go of it, but he said he is working to get everything done, and I've talked to Chris.
I've talked to him 2 or 3 times.
I don't think he likes very much on this last one. Then
No, we've sent him everything.
He's trudging along without asking where he was.
I don't think that's a holdup or anything.
I don't think it is either. So
We're caught up to what they wanted other than that.
And we've done sent everything into DLG. She called, we went through that process in her bid. And we put in there about what all had happened to the auditor. She said they've done that for several of the towns.
yeah, I know Chris has been pretty diligent about getting all that stuff in too.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty good on that. So I think we're pretty good on all that.
DLG said
And
we
you can actually talk. You need to reach out and talk to him. He'll actually talk to you. Where the previous ones were not so much.
He does a good job with that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're trying to get everything wrapped up with HUD. We're moving along.
What is it with HUD? I forget.
You got $1 million congressional allocation. Congressman Rogers had that put in the budget, so that gives you 3.5 million instead of.
Yeah.
We're trudging along. So.
We're good. That's what we like.
Brother, how come it comes with more?
I just have 2 updates for you. One is very positive. We got division water approval for this project.
One. What's a big one?
It is a big deal, yeah. And then the other is
Just for us to keep.
yeah, you can keep that. I just made a copy for you guys. The other is we're working on KYTC permit. Usually that's a lot quicker than division water, but they're asking
Pass that
for
around.
a little extra information because this is going to go in front of driveways. Tommy's is one of them. It was the most difficult one that I had to do it. But we have to get them to sign these documents, basically just saying,
Sorry.
basically just saying that they understand we're going to open cut their driveway and we're going to fix it back. We'll have the contractor do that. That's part of their contract when they come
You
in.
get him?
I don't need his actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's got the road.
yeah. The road passes him. So.
Yeah.
But we got 8 signatures today. There's 2 that are rental properties, and I talked to the renters and they got me the landlord's number. And I called them and they're actually going to be in town tomorrow and can sign them. So I dropped them off at the renter.
Were you able to get up to the Maston Drive?
I went up there and I spoke to the lady who
Okay.
is in the office, and she
Was
gave
that
me
the day?
another contact.
When you emailed me, that phone lines were down.
Yeah, no, I called the mayor at one point that day and I couldn't hear anything.
No,
Something's going on.
phones were horrible.
And they're bad today too.
Yeah, but these are not typical. This is the first time I've had to do these, but everybody was super open to signing them and understood what we were doing. They were just happy new water lines going in.
Yeah, I think everybody's ready for it.
Yeah, water lines.
So that's my only update, and then I'm still trying to contact the property owner. I've got a couple voicemails and emails. Get back, we'll move forward on that.
I'm still glad we got this water permit back. That's major. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, they've been.
Usually it's a little slower than that.
Yeah, it's usually a lot slower than KYC.
I have seen them take up to a year.
Yes. And that's on a good scale.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Maybe they know how important the project is.
Yeah.
Unless
And
y'all
they got a
got
little fire under them.
any questions for me? That's all I got.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
You're a
All right.
franchise guy, or you?
Sure. Well, good evening. My name is Stephen Clark. I work for the U.S. Small Business Administration Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. I had sent email to the city earlier about the low-interest disaster loans we have available for homeowners, renters, private nonprofits, and small businesses which may have suffered physical damage from the February floods. I want to provide a reminder that the application deadline for those loans, the physical damage loans, is currently April 25th. We encourage people to do not wait to receive an insurance settlement. Apply for both, I would say, if you're a homeowner or renter, apply for FEMA grants for your primary residence damage before their application deadline. And they do have a hard deadline, the April 25th deadline. Now, the SBA deadline, a person can apply late. The issue with that is currently FEMA has centers, like there's the closest one is in Whitesburg, where you can go and apply in person. That's open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So after that April 25th deadline, it's quite possible that that center will be closed down. So then after that, applying would be more a matter of applying online, and you wouldn't have the in-person assistance to help you out. So that's just one consideration. So the basics, like I was saying, we encourage people, don't wait to receive an insurance settlement. Make sure you get your application in before the deadline. There is no application fee, and there's no obligation to take either FEMA grant or an SBA loan. So we tell people apply, then you can decide when you find out what kind of grants and loans you can get, you can decide what you want to do. And you're not in a position where down the road, if you wait even past, say, our 60-day soft deadline of applying late, that you then would not be able to get any funds to make repairs or rebuild based on the damage you had. Another thing you can do with your SBA loan funds, you can use the funds to relocate. I know many times with insurance funds, you've got to use the proceeds to make your repairs at that address. But if that's not an issue for you, you can use the SBA physical damage loan funds to relocate, whether it's across town or somewhere else in the county or anywhere really in the United States of America, if that is a better option for either your home or your business. So those are the basics that we've got. I've sent the fact sheets and all those other documents. If you do need paper copies of that stuff, I'm happy to come and provide you. We have flyers, we have fact sheets, we have other information about applying. And I guess as my final pitch, I would like to encourage anyone, whether they had a business and were impacted by the floods or not, that the Kentucky Small Business Development Center is a resource available to help people who have businesses apply either for the disaster loans or for any of the other types of SBA loans. And all their services are prepaid, so there's no cost to the business owner or the prospective person who wants to start a business and get that kind of assistance. And they have a number of trained and experienced business consultants who can help people with those things out. So that's another great resource I like to highlight. And thank you very much for your time and your attention this evening.
What was that deadline again, sir?
The physical damage application deadline is April 25th. And that is also the FEMA, what they call individual assistance. Those are their grants for homeowners and renters for damage to their primary residence. And we have loans that correspond with those for homeowners, renters, and private nonprofits and small businesses with physical damage. We also have economic injury disaster loans for nonprofits or businesses that have lost revenue but didn't necessarily have physical damage. But the application deadline on those is like 7 months out. So they have more time to decide if they have lost revenue. And that's why I really remind about the physical damage application. That's really the important thing right now.
Here's the paper.
Yes, and like I said, I can, if it would benefit you to have more, I have more in the bag, but I also can bring you more things say tomorrow. If that's something you would like to have a stack of flyers to hand out, or fact sheets or other documents. I mean, some people prefer the online stuff, PDFs, and they'd like to share that way. Other folks, it may be better if they say, "Oh, I'll give somebody who I don't, they don't pay that much attention to the computer, but if I hand them something, that's more how they work." So either way, we'll make sure to get the stuff to you.
For private homeowners, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations.
Yes, or if you're a renter and your primary residence was damaged, so I mean, it wouldn't be that since you don't own the real estate, that would not be covered, but you could get a loan to replace your belongings that might have been damaged, furniture, appliances, electronics, maybe your car was flooded out and you're a renter. Those would be examples where a renter could get the physical damage loan. A homeowner could also get funds for the contents, but also for their real estate, and that's also the case for a private nonprofit or a small business.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
I'm here to start about a 6 to 7 month process with your electrical franchise from Kentucky Utilities. Today's the first day one. I've talked to Robin a few times on the process. How many knows what a franchise is? That is, if you look at your bill, you'll see a franchise tax on your bill. That is the percentage that you all decide to tax the constituents here in the city on their utility bill. Currently, it's at 3%. That usually pays the light bill, is about what it equals out to be. Typically, this is set up for a 20-year term. You can go 5, 10, 15, or 20, whichever you want to do. But the advantage of a 20-year term is, let's say 5 years down the road, you need to up it or you need to lower it. You vote on it, you let us know, it goes into effect. So with 20, you can adjust every 5 years if you want to. If you go less than 20, it's this whole process all over again. Okay? So that's pretty much it in a nutshell on what it is. I think I said right now you're at 3%. You can go 0 up to 5. You can go whatever y'all want.
Well, that just gets passed on to the consumers.
It's going on to you and the consumer. So it's
So that-
typically,
That 3%, where does that go? Like,
It comes back to the
to us?
It comes back to the
What does
city.
it go into? Into the city?
General fund.
general
Okay.
fund.
All right.
yeah, typically 3% in 20 years is the norm. But
We collect about 14,000 every quarter.
Yeah.
I usually
Okay, you
turn-
ought to match that.
Is this pretty typical for other cities?
yeah, this is everywhere. I mean, typically 3% in 20 years is typical. I mean, we do have some cities that 0, but they've got high industry and their taxes cover
Sure.
everything else. First process, I get to read you about 2 pages. So sit back, try to stay awake. An ordinance creating a franchise for the erection, laying, and maintenance of electrical facilities and approved facilities and equipment in, along, or across the public ways, roads, streets, alleys, and other public places in the city of Cumberland, Kentucky, for the furnishing and selling electricity by the means of said facilities and providing for the sale of said franchise. Whereas the city of Cumberland wishes to ensure that electric service continues to be furnished to its citizens in a reliable and efficient manner. Whereas the city is aware that the provision of such service requires the continued use of the public streets, ways, alleys, and other public places. Whereas the franchise granted to and acquired by Kentucky Utilities on August the 9th of 2005, under which that utility provided such service, will expire in its term November 7, 2025. Whereas the city wishes to provide for the sale of the new franchise for the benefits of its citizenry, given effect to section 96.010 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes. Now therefore be it ordained as follows. Section 1. A non-exclusive franchise to use the city's public right-of-ways are described in the franchise agreement attached to this ordinance and is hereby created. Section 2, the franchise created by this ordinance shall bid in accordance with the applicable requirements of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky and Chapter 424 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes, as well as any other applicable civic ordinances. Section 3, the franchise created by this ordinance shall be awarded to the highest and best bidder, as shall be determined by the city in its sole discretion. In awarding the franchise, the city shall consider the technical, managerial, and financial qualifications of the bidder to perform its obligations under the franchise. The winning bidder and the city shall negotiate, execute, and be bound by a franchise agreement with the terms identical to and substantially identical to the franchise agreement referred in Section 1 above and attached whereto. Such agreement to contain terms that are fair and reasonable to the city, to the purchaser of the franchise, and to the patrons of the utility. Such franchise agreement shall become effective with the first billing cycle on or after the expiration of the existing franchise agreement, to allow the city and the winning bidder to develop appropriate procedures for identifying and reviewing the electrical consuming entities within the city's corporate limits. All ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with the provisions of this ordinance are hereby repealed. Should any section, clause, line, paragraph, or part of this ordinance or the attached agreement be held unconstitutional or invalid for any reason, the same shall not affect the remainder of this ordinance or the attached agreement as applicable. Time is of the essence in carrying out the terms of these provisions of this ordinance and the franchise created herein. This ordinance shall become effective from and after its passage and publication. Then this goes on about the reading. What will happen now, next session, you'll read this again and vote on it. Then, once that's passed, I will be providing Robin with all of this that she can do electronically, so she'll have copies of everything. But there'll also be a notice of sale lab that will be posted in the paper that any other utilities that want to bid on it can bid. And then once that's posted, then sealed bids will be delivered to you. And we're about a quarter of the way through the process at that point. So I'll go over the rest of it as we get closer to law time. Anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Yep.
What modifications are we able to make to the franchise agreement at this point? Here's my concern.
Yep.
I've worked with Benjamin Lynch, actually, with their solar installs up there. They had a solar panel installation go in. That metering agreement was on that meter. They needed the power somewhere else in the city. We may be eventually in a similar situation where we have a good site for solar, but it's not where we're consuming electricity. Would KU be willing to allow us a account level net metering agreement versus a meter level net metering agreement?
That and this is two separate apples and oranges. What you get into in the net, with the net metering and solar, that's a whole different thing other than
I
the
mean,
franchise for agreement here.
we're okay.
Well, he gets that, what he's asking. Besides this, while we've got you here, this is something he would like to ask.
I mean,
It's something we would like to negotiate for as part of the bid.
that's a whole separate other negotiation. I mean, if you're wanting to set up solar and wanting to look at it, all means do so. Call us. We'll come in and give you our suggestions and what you can do with it, and give you an idea of the effects of. But that has nothing to do with this. This is basically an agreement. You're buying electricity off us, and we have the rights to come in there and work on it as needed. So, yeah. But no, I mean, if you're looking at solar, get in touch with us. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Well, that way, since you're on the subject, we may have to make some corrections. Because we're having trouble getting a simple street light fixed.
I was looking at your list. Have you marked those?
We've marked them so many times that the tapes fell off.
Okay.
We're tired of marking.
I'm gonna have to get back with you for locations on them, because are all of those metal poles?
No, we don't have very many metal
poles
poles
at
at
all.
all.
Are they no pole numbers on any of them?
Huh?
Are they no?
We've got poll numbers and got them through them on
There's
every
about
one.
one little list. The other two pages are just in front of and back list, so I'm gonna have to get with you to get a better idea.
Well, we've offered, even if they'll come up, we'll show them where they're at. But, I mean, they're gonna have to mark the metal poles. They can't just refuse to fix them because they're not marked.
Yeah, well, I'll see if they've been turned in. If not, I'll get them turned in.
And then another thing is, when we have a tree that's on a limb, we don't care if it's residential. If it's sitting near the main pole, we've got one in front of Food City that the tops fell out of. It's laying on the line and the residential line. The guys I talked to said, well, until it breaks it, we're not gonna fix it. That is a piss poor attitude.
Who's you talking to?
I'm not gonna say because I don't wanna get them in trouble,
Okay.
but they work with you.
If you drive up through there, you'll see it.
Was
Can't
it an
miss it.
arborist or was it just one of the linemen?
No, it's one of the main guys.
May I see that sample ordinance that you have, please?
We can make you a
Of course,
copy.
I can make your
Oh,
copy of
Okay,
it.
I,
Yeah, we'll-
that's the only one I saw so far.
Okay, yeah.
No, he did.
Make you some
I
copies
went to see
for
it.
But no, what we're having trouble with is the streetlights, and yes, there is poll numbers. That's probably the second or third list. After a while, you just get tired of writing if no one's gonna
Yeah.
fix them, but yet we pay for them every month.
I'll dig into it and find out.
Well, what's it take to get a LED light?
Actually, I was gonna
After they get rid of all the junk up here on this end, then
well, right now, it would be better for you to fix this list first because those are free. But then I was wanting to bring it up as we get into this about an LED conversion. It's capable now that we can talk on an LED conversion and switch them all over. I could run the numbers and sort of see it. If you do a LED conversion, for every light, there's a $3.29 fee for it for 60 months or 5 years. But the savings most of the time pay for themselves in about 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Uh,
How does the city save on that? What discount do we get for going to that?
Yeah, it's a cheaper rate on the LED lights than what you have now.
It's definitely gonna save here, cause half of them, they'll stay on during the day even.
Mhm. It's just,
I mean, and
Used
then
to,
at
we
night,
could-
they don't work
The
half
one
the
behind the
time.
house comes on and
Comes
off.
Used to
on
when
when
we
it wants
had-
to and goes off when it wants to.
local, closer offices, we could get something done with these, but I mean, it's been over a year on some of those.
Yeah. Right.
And some of them are in intersections.
Okay.
You're facing a
Three years
lawsuit.
on behind the house.
We've done our.
Yeah, I've turned it in 20 times.
What we're gonna have to do is, when it comes to these trees, if we call KU out, we're probably going to end up having to pass an ordinance to where once we call and give so many days, we're gonna have to start finding KU to get out and get this done before someone gets hurt. It's not only painful for the customer, you know, if it lands on their house, it's painful for folks going without electricity or whatever it takes when that could have been prevented.
Especially in
The
storms and
attitude
stuff.
that until it breaks, we're not fixing it is ridiculous.
What it all boils down to is we're just so small and the numbers are so small that,
We
I
don't,
mean,
make-
all these services
we
don't
don't
care. They don't care because,
but we pay the top price.
yeah, and that's goes right along with the phones being out. Like that's all the time too. And,
But we want our KU better than we've had. And I'm not being a jerk to you, I'm just telling you the truth. It's no good that we can't go and get a street light fixed, get a limb off of a line before it hurts someone.
I think.
What if some kid comes up and touches that pole and it happens to be raining that day?
I think that's been
And they get electrocuted. It's not the city's fault.
I think that's been the experience of like community too, is reporting streetlights and reporting it over and over and over and over again. I know I've reported at least 5 or 6 and
And trust me, we passed it along.
yeah.
I got to where I don't even do it. Oh,
We have police
Do it all
officers
the time.
marking them at night for a whole year, and the tape would literally dry rot, fall off, and still a light.
okay. I'll dig into it and if they don't get fixed, let me know.
We're ready to take action. If something ain't done, we're not paying for lights that don't work. We've even got some that poles were knocked, metal poles have been hit by cars and knocked down. That's never came off of our bill, and the pole's never been put back up.
Or out there.
There's one in
That's
front
the
of
one I
the,
told you about. That's there where the bears at.
Yeah.
That's what you're
yes,
talking
one
about?
by the bears at. The other one, which I'm sure it's because of construction, right there where the bridge is being built, they took 2 street lights down. They haven't been put back up.
Going to Springfield.
Hopefully that's gonna be put back up when the bridge is complete. If not, we'll have to address it. We pay for them even though they're not there.
I have a question. In section 2, it talks about the bidding process. Is there any way that you can provide us a copy of like a recent bid that was done with another city, or what that process looks like?
What happens is once that you post the bid in the paper, utilities take that and then we'll deliver a sealed bid here for you all to open up and vote.
You might be able to contact another city and see what the bids came in.
That should be public information. I just didn't know if you had something handy or not. I mean, I can get it. If it's
Yeah,
public information, I can get it. But
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had that handy or not.
and it on down into the process, and she's got a list, but it's really just for the clerk to see the process. The reason that, it's expiring in November, but this is on a good day, a 7-month ordeal. So if we have 1 month of the lapse, that just pushes us closer and closer. So right now, we should be finishing up September, October-ish. But down towards one of the last steps is the ordinances and everything has to go in front of the PSC and get their approval. And they can take up to 6 weeks. So that sort of messes with the timeline as well. So sort of the reason I'm here in April, trying to get this started.
Sure.
Just in case.
We had, I know that in this, it gives you all permission to come and work on the lines to make updates and whatnot. We actually had that I don't know if you were involved when the new poles were put up through town there.
No, I came after with all the ones that was left.
Yes, what we ran into with, I guess they contracted it out to Elliott to replace those poles, which it wasn't Elliott's fault, let me say that firsthand. But they had to hire a road crew, flagging crew
Oh, yeah.
to flag. And we had an issue with one of the flagging crew, a little lady came down through here and told me a flagger just cussed her out. She didn't move quick enough. I thought that can't be true. So I drove up by there. Just so happened a guy at the bank hollered at me. I looked off for a second. This dude tries that with me. Big mistake, because I lost my ever-loving mind. I came out of that car and they were escorted out of town with the police. So they need to know when they're in their town to be respected.
And they very well should be. And if
They
they
weren't.
ain't,
This dude, he thought he could put his hands on my vehicle, and that's when the gun came out. I don't tolerate that.
no, we don't off of our contractors either.
That's not gonna fly, not in this town.
No. It's,
It's a lot of elderly people, and you know, sometimes what if they are a little slow? What's so
It doesn't
important in your
matter.
day
yeah.
that
It
you had
doesn't
to cuss
matter
out a little
elderly
old
or
lady
not.
when you're a 350-pound bearded guy? It just don't make good sense.
No.
But now the Elliott crew were very professional. When they saw it, what we were doing, they came down off the buckets, got their trucks, and they all left. We don't want it to come to that,
No,
but we're not gonna tolerate foolishness either.
no, I don't blame you. I wouldn't either. Any other questions?
I hate that you're taking the brunt of this, but we don't never see anybody anymore.
That's true. It's
Uh,
not toward you at all.
No, I
It's toward of
understand.
someone who can help us get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
You know, I see Robin about every 3 months delivering the franchise checks, so anytime that you need to get work, both of them got my number. So,
When we had office here, it was different. I mean, you just
yeah,
right out through express,
Well,
yeah.
The first thing that happens anytime a street light's out, we're told to call the 1-800 number, report it, do all that. So we do.
do you have the email?
I'll have to check and see. Teresa was handling all those.
Yeah, Teresa's been off. She's
Okay.
going through a cancer.
There's an email that goes straight to the people it puts in the orders.
Now, I think you talked to her about that, didn't you?
Yeah,
And that's how she sent all those in.
okay.
Now I
So-
remember now.
Yeah, the phone call, and you might be sitting on waiting where the email goes straight in.
Yeah.
But again, the worst part on the email,
Well, I
if
even
you're
have,
sending in information that, where's this at? They ain't got nobody to talk to and say,
Right.
okay, well, direct me here. And that's what I have to do is if I can't find it, I gotta go in on a program and you tell me what's right in front of this White House and the orange, and I can look them up and find them.
When I report it, I think there's an online form also. You can
There is.
report it and put the location and
And that's good for singles, but when you got
Right.
age,
Yeah.
it's a whole lot easier
or
to
2
email.
pages or 3 pages.
So,
yeah, I got you.
yeah, whichever way works best for you. But yeah, it's, you got that, you got the link or the phone call or the email or but whichever way, they should be getting done. So I'll check on it and see.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That would be a big help to us. We can get
I'll
that
do
taken
my
care of.
best.
If you could get a chance to take a look at that tray as you go out, but you see it right
I'll
there by
slide
Food
up
City,
through
the
there.
top's laying right
Is it
there.
behind Food City?
It's in front, right by the end of the bridge.
Okay.
You can't miss it.
Okay.
Can you get us more information on the LED conversion?
I was gonna say, did you say it's about a $200 conversion per lot? After about 5 years, you start seeing the savings, is that kind of
It's
Yeah, yeah,
$329 a lot
60
for
months?
60 months. What's that come up to be?
$200.
197.40.
It's about $200 a lot, but
That's broken down over the 60 months.
now I've ran into one city that I tried to call today to talk to. Some of the LEDs that they was going to cost more than what they had. So I'm like, do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Because it's not beneficial to you. But I would imagine most of yours is going to be a cheaper rate, and they will pay for themselves over time. I can run a report, bring it back. I'll be delivering checks here about 2 or 3 weeks.
Sure.
I'll bring it by as I deliver checks and
That
let
way
you
we can look
at
it over.
I think we got about 350.
Yeah,
It's quite a few.
a little bit close. Yeah. Pineville has 211.
$1,050 a month, around it.
So,
What'd you say on?
350 lights,
Mhm.
I'll be around 1,050 extra a month.
yeah, it'll go up for the 5 years, and then I'll show you the savings that it's going to be, then you can figure out, okay, it's going to pay for that in so many years. I've had-
LEDs are going down so fast, I mean, it's
Well,
hard to believe they're still so high.
I've had one city that they started saving from day one.
Oh, really?
I've got one city that I told you I was calling to talk to. It was a 33-year payoff. And I'm like, who's going to do that when it's 33 years?
Yeah,
before you
really.
get
Yeah,
your
we're
money
just
back?
getting out of some old debts like that.
Yeah.
We won't
Yes.
get in debt 33
Yeah,
years.
so I've adjusted on theirs to, these are the ones that's gonna help you, these ain't gonna help you. Here, you tell me what you want.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and that's what we can do too, we can look at it, and if, we'll wait and see till I get your report run, and we'll go over that.
Okay.
I've got a question that might be kind of sideways. What's the process if the city were wanting to put up a new light somewhere?
Call it in.
Council.
Because I wouldn't, me as a citizen, I wouldn't mind paying even a higher
Well-
percentage rate, bring more money in to put in more
One of
lights like in
these
the
two
back
has
alleys
to
and
call it in.
different places.
You can't, because they're the only ones that can put it on their bill. So if
No,
it's
that's-
a new light,
Right.
it's different.
And I've brought it up to council before. We've had people request new lights,
Yeah,
and that goes south real quick.
uh-huh,
Our bill's like $23,000 a month, so.
yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
the
really.
rates have went up for everybody. If it goes up at your house, it goes up here.
Well, your
It
street
sure
lights
went up.
pretty well stay constant. Yeah, other rates.
Other rates, yeah, I mean, you gotta look, you got pump stations and generators, and
Water plant. sewer
water
plant.
plants, sewer plants.
Mhm.
Come on, electric
Yeah,
and
they do.
water.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we appreciate it. And if you can help us with that, it'd be great.
I'll work on it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
buddy.
Yeah.
Right.
bro. Appreciate it.
Paul, you got anything?
Oh, generally, I'd say we're gonna win the garbage contest again this year in the county. Chances are pretty good.
Down there. Oh, in the office.
The new guy is, Dondi Noah, Trent Noah's dad.
Donnie does it?
Dondi.
I'll take it.
I was gonna say, I figured you probably had his
Yeah,
contact.
I mean, they could tell you quicker than anybody.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'm sure there's some kind of recycling.
Yeah, even if we have
Purpose
to take them and then they go somewhere else or what.
Yeah,
I know we always.
our
take
good
all
old
the
federal
batteries.
government gets when they ain't got nowhere to dispose of them.
Well, we usually pile them up at the lot, and then, like when we get a truck bed full, we'll send them down there. I don't know if it's that particular type. It's usually regular car batteries.
Right.
Oh, these are a lot smaller. They're about the size of my phone. I got 500 about that
You
size.
just can't just throw those away, though. That's the problem with them. You can't just throw those away. That's the problem.
That's the problem, yeah.
Because we had somebody throw a battery away up in
Catch it on
a certain
fire.
city the other day, and it caught the garbage truck on fire because it ground it out.
It ground out against the side of the metal. It was
One of the new $30,000 truck.
interesting.
How much?
Or
No,
that new
no, luckily that one
$300,000
was down that day.
Remember
I know that
backup?
sounds awful, but
Oh, you,
we ended up spending
$300,000 truck.
we spent about $4,000 to fix that truck because of a rat. Chewed the wiring harness.
They're
Had to have
good,
it
they're
hauled
good
to
at
the
that.
Cummings diesel, and then they had to go through the whole harness and fix it. If it gives you any idea, the toll bill's only around $700 to $800. The bill for Cummins is around $3,000.
Yeah,
I think
tracking down that electric wire.
$1,000 of it was just tracking the
It
wire.
only took them a day.
Oh, yeah, but the labor of tracking,
Just that
tracing
part.
everything else.
They probably had 2 or 3 guys sitting there going through thousands of little wires, all to find out a rat chewed the darn thing. It's frustrating when to me, it's like a little bitty varmint can down a $180,000 truck.
Yeah, that's a trashy situation.
Oh my gosh.
He ain't right in the head. Council comments. I got him.
Oh, I do.
Go for it.
Okay.
I'm not trying to cut you out, Jordan. Did you have something?
You can go ahead.
That's why I looked left first.
You can think, go ahead and finish your thought. I'll
Okay.
summarize in my head first.
I want to take a minute as a council and to think and brainstorm about what we want to do as we start to get some of these long-term debts paid off. I worry that when we start to pay them off and we see that additional revenue start showing up in our books, that we'll throw it away at something that's not important. And I would like to see us talk about maybe saving it for a future big project in some sort of growth-oriented account so that we can save for the future instead of constantly
Replace the
borrowing.
lines.
Yeah.
Definitely, it should.
Well, we're replacing lines, looking into getting our own dispatching equipment, so we're not paying another city for dispatching, and also to put a couple of people in our community to work.
I mean, the
So it's a
debate,
plus on both
I think the
ends.
debate will be what we spend it on, but I just want to know if we can agree to save it for something big as we start to get them. I don't know when they're going to be matured. I know we've not adopted the budget. I don't remember doing one last
Well,
year.
Your payments already went from 18,000 down to 4,000, so there's really not a big savings there.
Yeah.
Trust me, that we were scraping pennies to pay the 18,000.
It was gone for it.
So the 4,000, and then when you have KU bills and stuff go up, not throwing you under the bus, but any bill, any bill that goes up, the money's already spent. Now, if we had that $18,000, that would be just, yeah, we can just throw that away. That'd be great. I mean, it was, to give you an idea how we came up with that, we actually worked employees for 32 hours a week for probably 4 years. And they were grateful to have a job, but look what they had to go through, what they missed out on. They're now they get their 40 hours. But it's not easy when you're a small city. Any little increase, $4,000 repair bill on a garbage truck.
Then we went multiple years of neglection in certain areas, and you're playing catch up to break back
That's-
even. And it's
Not to take away from what you're saying, what he's saying is correct. Years of neglect, and I'm talking 50 years of neglect.
Yeah, we're playing
Kicking
catch
the
We're all
down the
having to
road.
play catch up on that now.
And that's
Well, and at least with the long-term debts, they're starting to clear up.
Yeah, there's only one bond left, and I'm gonna say a year. It should be gone. No more than a year and a half.
I mean, I'm just suggesting that maybe we set aside a certain amount of money and just sock it away in an interest-bearing account. Maybe
we
it's
have to-
$100 a month. Maybe it's $500 a
And
month.
I agree with you. I mean, if we're
That's
fortunate and
something
able
that's-
to, I'm on board with it, yeah.
500, but at the same time, we had a situation like, hopefully FEMA will help us with it, but a tree went under a bridge in Hiram. When it did, it actually dug up the riverbed and ripped the line out of the riverbed, the water line. So we had to run it across the bridge. That repair alone was $6,000,
So we're free and clear on bonds.
all but one.
All but one.
There were 3, 2 are
Right.
paid off from 1964.
And we're gonna have to have a
So when did we-
backhoe before long too.
We absolutely will have to have one, but at the same time, we did pay off the street sweepers, so that's a $1,700 a month payment. So your backhoe's probably the same.
That's what I was gonna say, you're gonna be.
The best thing to do when you do have equipment needs is as you pay one off, get that while you can, while you have that money. Or you will wind up in a
Something else you
situation.
use it.
Well, you know, your backhoe, that's where I mean, that's the biggest use thing we've got in the city by
Yeah,
far,
Definitely.
by far.
How long did we pay on the 2 water bonds that's paid off?
From 1964 till now.
64 until now?
They should have been paid off 20 years
Before I
ago.
was born.
Yeah,
They should have been paid off
there
in
were
like
years where they
89.
weren't paid on at all.
Right, right.
And
And
then
this-
there were penalties added to that.
And all 3 of these water bonds stemmed from the same,
Yes, all
Era,
from
okay.
1964.
okay. Okay.
And I wasn't even born then, so
We couldn't make the payments, so we had to redo them.
had to
Couldn't make
redo
the
them.
payments. we had
And
to
what happened
redo
every
'em.
time they redid them, that interest just eat you up.
Yeah.
What probably started out as a $4 million bond wound up probably 15 million in refinance. And when I took over in 2016, it was pay up or else. You couldn't, it wouldn't have mattered if we'd have had our audits current. Projects like Letcher County wouldn't have been available. Nothing was available. Everything was on hold. So we had to get caught up in, what did you say, 2 years' time? We had to pay $320,000. So it was scraping the bottom of the barrel for everything.
Where's your boy on?
Oh, and did you have a monthly report?
Yes.
You go and give it to me. I about forget about him over in the corner.
That's why he was in the corner.
I was okay with that.
He was in the corner, that's why he was in the corner.
Month of March, I think I gave y'all February last year,
Last year.
had 21 arrests, 290 calls service, issued 31 citations, opened 4 cases, worked 6 collisions, e-calls 28, assisted agency 9, business checks 100, road checks 2, warrant served 15, motion assist 22, and animal complaints 7. It's down for the month of March. That was due to weather, and now it's getting pretty good.
They
So
pick
that's
up.
probably gonna go back up.
Oh,
The
yeah.
warmer it gets, the crazier it gets.
It's crazy every time it gets warm.
Any questions?
You all got an update on
Did
those
you
grants
finish
you
time?
Yeah, I applied for it.
I have not got an update on the, vehicle grant or the best grant through codes. But I got another grant that issued best for 7 officers, and they come up, was it last week or before last measure? So we should be getting them best in, it's just 45 to 60 days.
But now we've got everything in on them. other ones,
Everything's in on the grant.
Just waiting to
Wait
hear
Wait
back.
till you're back.
Yeah, in other words, the ball's in their court.
Court.
Which is a good problem to have. It's usually in hours.
Yeah.
Thank you, Owen. Jordan.
So we've had quite a busy month for fires in my neighborhood, and we appreciate the Cumberland Fire Department for their efforts with that. But it also kind of makes me wonder what's going to happen with the mess that's left over, how that's gonna, what we can do about it, if it's going to sit there
We
for.
can issue the public nuisance ordinance that I told you were just thrown out.
Right,
We issue that, and that's
and that's pretty much it, right?
pretty much it. If it
That's
gets thrown out, we can issue it again and ask the judge not to throw it out, as per our day in court.
Right.
If we do that.
Is there anything that would help persuade them, a petition or?
I don't know. That'd be a better question for Kenny and Owen, I guess.
You talking about being, I mean, I'll say his name, Ben Brown and Krista and Junior Miles, you know, Dunks, you know. Charles tell you when, we had to run people out there when they started, cause it was like Walmart for crackheads, guys, when they was over there. We had to run people out. They got nowhere to take it, but they want it. I can't figure it out. But when it comes to having to take it, It's all said. Go ahead, Bob.
I was just wondering, I know like with some commercial buildings, things of that nature, with some of those ordinances, you can cite them and then you start a process and you can wipe them out.
It is a process.
You can't attach the lien and all that after you win the
Yes.
property. or whatnot.
Yes, you
I
can
didn't know
attach
if that
a
was-
lien. We have to pay to have the lien drawn up and taken care of.
And if we get it, we've got more cost of cleaning it up.
And then you can force them, I think it's a year after the liens are put on, you can force it to be sold
Right.
on the courthouse steps. And there's no guarantee what you're gonna get. I guess it depends on what you're willing to take. Yeah, if you spent 3,000 to clean it up and someone bid 1,500, you either take it or you let it sit there again and go out for rebid. It's a long agonizing process.
High likelihood this dies at the courthouse. High likelihood this dies at the courthouse. Yeah, okay.
Insurance to dump
Yeah.
material.
Yes.
Yes.
We
There's
did,
no way
we
around that.
did do
Paul.
some of them, when Paul could get them hauled off for free, but we run into, not on his part or my part, we just ran into
And that's
a
a lack
rock
of,
wall on that.
We hope to get that. Of course, I've said that before.
that's a lack
That's
of
the
thing.
only way all those got going.
So there, at that one time.
What?
That's a
Let's-
lack of
let's-
thing. County was allowed
hang
to
on.
haul them for free. Navaditas thing.
What we're doing is we're following this all the way to its conclusion. But the first step is really citing them
We already do
for
that.
we already do that.
Yeah. We can't help it when they get thrown out, is what we're saying.
How about the ones that you just talked about recently burned? Have they been cited yet?
Well, you gotta look, they have to go through the insurance process. If they haven't done it, you can't just go cite them the next day.
Well, I mean, it's like trash, hazardous. I mean, the public nuisance ordinance is pretty clear about when that condition is met, it's deemed a public nuisance.
Yeah, it's after 30 days and it's not been 30.
Tyler, I know what you're saying, but an ordinance is an ordinance.
Yeah.
Like a lock is a lock, okay? We make ordinances for good people that own.
Well, I haven't finished my statement yet.
I know,
But
I'm trying to help you.
because this first step of citing somebody costs very little.
Wrong. Absolutely wrong.
We send an officer out, we pay for his time.
Nope. Has to go through our attorney first. And our attorney charges to draw this up.
So it costs an hour of attorney's time.
Wrong. It's an hour of whatever he tells you. If it's 2 hours, it's 2 hours. At $250 an hour.
And I thought that guy, it's probably a minimum of $1,000.
To write a citation.
Give you an idea. We just had a 15-minute phone call cost me $150.
That's insane.
Yes, it's
We had to go to,
Wrong business.
what was the other one?
That's what I was trying to tell him.
We had to serve
the
paper.
last bill.
I'd say if you
was
show them-
$700.
Yeah, the last bill we got was $2,700
I'd say if you show
instead of
them
$500 a month.
Oh, at least.
If he talks to you on the phone, you pay. If he draws up a paper, Karen never charges us to do that.
Scott does.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's, we can,
We even tried reaching out to talk with him about that process. But don't get me wrong, that's not gonna deter us. We'll pay, if it's 10 people, we'll pay them whatever it takes him to draw it up. But that's what it said, that's what sucks. If the judge throws it out, guess what? You
still
gotta
gotta
do
pay
that
him.
again. Pay to get it reserved. I don't understand why city ordinance is not, why that judges don't take that more serious. I understand what Paul said. It's, they're elected officials. They don't want to get not elected, but it puts us in a real problem when you got owners on each side of that that
Well,
have
you can't enforce
properties that's
anything.
devaluing their properties. because
Exactly.
The trash. I'm sure every one of us in this room has one near us somewhere that
I can walk out on my front
Or more than
porch
one.
and look left and stare at a burnt out trailer and a roach infested blue house.
Them things still ain't crossing the grass, are they?
Oh no, I'm on kids and every now and then I go out and line up.
So just moving on quickly to the rest of the stuff here. Like, it's been a while since we've met. What's going on with the bridge? Is there any like operational updates from the city? What's been going on over the last couple of months? Any major issues?
They got on our water line and didn't break it. They actually pushed it apart. We were able to fix it without a main rupture. We actually fixed it live, picked the line back up to seal it.
That's a close call.
Is there any ETA on when that's done?
It was supposed to
They
be
had a
March,
month extension for the bad weather, so it was March. You're probably looking
July.
July.
March
They've had,
2026.
what, 5 people building that thing?
Not many at all for this bigger crew, but
Now they have more because they're tying steel.
yeah, they've set all the
They're
beams and
professional.
everything, so it should start picking up. I think their worst part was when they were having to do the piers in the river and it kept raining and the water would get up and wash away what they did.
And still just
Forms.
5 people doing it the whole
I
time.
know.
I've watched
That's
several
something that's
days
sort of
of
out
it.
of our control because that's a state bridge, not a
Mhm.
city bridge or anything like that.
Yeah.
The updates on the same thing goes for the crew that's widening the river up there. They got the same kind of extension and
They're sorry.
yes, sir.
What
But
kind
they
of trees are they putting in down through there? Them
Probably the same ones that washed away
sycamores?
last time.
Bushes.
I don't know why they put trees. That's
Can
their
we,
thing.
can we cut them down right after they
Uh,
So the problem is.
You
it's
don't
like-
have to worry about
First time
cutting
it
them down.
rains, it'll
First
be
time
out.
it rains, those will be down in Hart.
The problem is they plant a bunch of saplings down through there and they're gonna get gone.
They wash away.
Yeah, they're gone.
And then what didn't wash away was, well, I won't say. They're not there.
Gone.
Whatever's in our way to make good parking use out of that will come down. It's that simple. You can't really plant trees in the river and expect it not to clog up.
Yeah, that'd
If
be
that makes sense.
garbage stuck to all that and everything when water
But
gets up.
they had an extension, and then April the 26th, I believe, is the last day they can work in the river till after spawning season, and they can come back in August, I believe,
Oh,
to
God.
finish
Ashamed of
because
this
of spawning
kid.
season.
Awesome.
You know, all the fancy fish that are in the sewer infested creek up there.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're all still alive and well.
Yeah.
I've not seen any of them there.
30 years.
It's just stupid rules, in my opinion. Of course, my opinion don't mean that.
Never want to do that. We got a stop mining process called Indiana Brown Bat.
Yeah.
Indiana Brown Bat, 30 years.
But did you have anything else?
No, I'm just.
But as far as serving these folks, we'll give you a list the next council meeting of who all we serve.
That'd be great.
We have no problem at all doing that.
That'd be great.
Okay, too.
I just get asked about it a lot. You know, it's like, what can you do? I mean, I don't know. Like,
I
I
think they
can,
served 3
Lord.
Friday. I'm not sure. So I made them copies.
I
That
can
don't
go
count
haul their stuff off for
the
them.
ones that we've already served. Like, to give you an idea, we served the college for the high school 4 years ago.
Yeah, that still
So many
pains me.
days.
Did they actually buy that?
The college owns it.
They do?
Somebody came and surveyed. I think they're getting ready to sell it.
Well,
I mean, whatever.
It's owned by the foundation, not the college.
Foundation.
Foundation.
I forget they have a foundation. Seems like that came up once before.
This building over here.
Was that what it
It's
Yeah.
like
was?
something to be done with it. I don't care what.
Yeah.
Bruce
I
Ayers
looked at it.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
That'd either be
I think,
level or.
I don't even know all the board members that sit
I
on
think
that
it's
foundation.
Rayburn, Bruce.
Rayburn and Bruce, but I forget the others. Because the actual college wanted to donate that building to the city.
Yeah, I thought they did, didn't
They
they?
did,
Okay, good.
but it was, we had a little.
Ed Harris. He said we
Ed
Yeah,
Harris
he's
said
over
that.
the foundation.
Yes, and one of the members wanted us to pay $3,000 for it. And we could not do that. So Mr. Harris covered the bill.
I would really love to see some more integration or working with the college here with something. I would love for them to be more involved and put more attention here instead of Middlesboro or
They are
something.
in the process, and I'd Elena can probably speak to this more than I can, but they're in the process, the hiring process for the president.
Yes.
Part of theirs, that's supposed to happen, I think, what, this next 30, 45 days, maybe 60 days?
Has it been, how long has it been without? I think they have an interim,
They do.
right?
We
They
do
have an interim.
currently have an interim. And
She was
they
great.
have- Yes, Patsy Jackson, Dr. Jackson has been a wonderful
She was
interim.
great.
Yeah.
They've accepted, like the applications are open for people to apply. And we still don't know a timeline, but they told us we would know who our next president is by July 1.
That's
There you
awesome. Maybe then we can work
Probably have
together
a
on
president
something.
before we have.
I mean, that's a huge resource for us. I think that makes or breaks us, honestly.
There's been a lot of conversation about some integrate,
Yeah.
and community college, the thing is, let's go back to a community college, that's kind of been the foundation of a lot of the talks of being more involved in the community. That
Absolutely.
place almost had a wall around it for 10 or 15 years, we'll say, not as of late necessarily, but for a while there, it kind of was its own little compound, and then
Yeah,
everything
I
got,
agree.
Howard-wise got transferred to Middlesboro, and then we were kind of left without.
Absolutely.
And it's, if you drive by there, for people, and I mean, I have people that's from out of town drive by there and say, what a beautiful college you have.
It is.
Because they don't know it exists, and then it's
Right.
just sort of, there's really nothing that draws people in, I don't
And
think.
there's
There's
never,
no promotion.
and there's no cars in the parking lots.
There's not.
Yeah.
It's
Hopefully we
seems
see more of that in the
underutilized.
future.
Yeah, hopefully.
And I'll be honest with you, online classes has hurt a lot too.
That's all we
They
teach.
have,
That's all we teach.
and they're not nearly
Is
as
it really?
effective.
It's gonna end up being another high school.
It's sad.
We are
So
working
not-
to try to get new programs that will funnel in directly to employment.
Do you know anything about the funeral director thing that they were doing?
They have been talking about trying to revive that, but it did not succeed.
I guess the nursing program's on one.
The nursing program is great,
People always die.
I
Like
know.
That would be
but
a
also,
good business model.
you know, business as a whole is difficult to get into unless you are.
I thought people were dying to get that
Established.
business.
Anyways,
Oh, down Mercy. You've been eating Laffy Taffy.
What about the what about
Jokes out
Walgreens
there.
up here building? Do we know anything about it? Is
The
this,
only thing I know is that the reason they didn't put anything in there was, they wanted $180,000 to put a sprinkler system in it. Sort of killed that.
Save a lot.
I didn't know it didn't
so
have
how
one
could
in.
Walgreens not, how did it open in the
I
first
have
place?
no
if it had
idea.
none?
I didn't think you could open a
Wasn't
business like
it?
that.
Did
Without
they
water
recently
spreader, without
change-
fire spreader.
They don't have one.
so that building doesn't meet code to be operated?
Not for what they were, like a grocery store. And I would say that goes to, I don't know how Walgreens operated there.
I don't
without
either, to be
fire
honest.
Either.
Did they recently change the code because we're trying to rehabilitate a
Nope.
business in Harlan? And we,
No,
We
according to
also
our
need
fire
to
chief,
recognize
that's always been code.
And
You know, they have to go through your fire chief too,
yes,
whenever
you
they.
do.
But no, he said that's been on the books for many, many years. It's not been changed.
Is there any other talks of any other businesses interested in? No rumors.
There was an Aldi, right, that was interested.
They were, but they said the square footage was wrong for them. And there wasn't enough room to add on to it, not enough property.
When they expanded back, it cut off the truck route. If they expanded
yeah.
this side, it killed the parking. If they
Yeah.
expanded this way, it cut off the truck route. Just kind of it needs either, what, about 40 more parking spaces one way or the other?
Yeah, I think that was one of like once they added on, they didn't have enough room for parking space that meets their requirements to put a business.
I think
Makes sense.
when we're talking about attracting new businesses to town, and it could be any of us that interact with somebody that's thinking about coming here, it's important to remind them that as a city, we don't have parking minimums. A lot of these big corporations treat every city like they have parking minimums, and we don't.
Well, when I did talk to one of the people that talked from Aldi's, and it wasn't, they asked us if we had anything. I told them we didn't have, as long as people had room to get in, it was great. But they have
Their requirement.
a requirement of
Yes.
their own before
Yeah.
they'll, but I get what you're saying, yeah.
Because some cities have really stringent parking minimums, and it requires the lots to be huge and set a long way back from the road.
We're just glad to have them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I just want to make sure everybody knows to remind people of that. We don't have those here. We don't have no parking minimums here.
Anything over 100 occupants, anything other than a small standalone restaurant, small office building, barber shop, or salon must have a fire suppression system. So those are the only things that's.
I don't know how they got by with that. I really, really don't. I even went back and looked at it just to make sure that, I thought it has to have one. It doesn't. All you gotta do is drive around the building. If you don't see the connection for the fire hoses, then have it. See, they can connect their truck directly to that and keep that going. Let's say your city water for some reason quit working, they can plug their fire trucks into there and keep feeding those sprinklers. And it doesn't have anything like
Oh, the big, like the cap that screws
that.
off.
That's what that's for,
I got
to hook directly to your fire truck.
I learned something. I almost went all day without learning something new, and I got it. There you go.
There's even, usually they have a meter there that will read how much went through there. But I learned that through Isaac, and it wasn't because I'm some genius. Isaac made it very clear what that was for. Believe it or not, the old Big Lots building, that's what I call it, Rudy's building.
Yeah.
It still has fire suppression.
Really?
That's another point. What's going on with that? Do we know?
He got sick.
I know he got sick and everything kind of fell apart during COVID and all that.
It's just where you see
inside
not able to fool with it.
The inside looked incredible. Like they had built a bar and it looked amazing. So
His health is really,
in the
really
Big
bad.
Lots building.
Really?
Yeah, they built a killer bar. Yeah. Killer.
It's huge in there. It's really, really nice.
You had a really good idea.
And the Freemans are selling the shopping center.
I've heard that.
It's
I saw it
listed.
on.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. And the Pizza Hut. Yeah, and the Pizza Hut.
Well, see, that's the thing. They don't own Pizza Hut. You would think so, wouldn't you? They own the property.
Yeah.
The guy that was over Pizza Hut last actually owns the building.
Really?
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
So what happens is once it's sold, he'll get compensated for the building
You're
if
gonna
it
pay-
sells with it.
Then you're gonna pay property lease.
Huh?
Then you're gonna pay property lease about the property.
Correct.
Well, I conclude my time.
Tommy?
No, you answered mine.
Jordan took all my time. I ain't got none.
Jonathan?
Or John, don't let him,
Corky?
can't backtrack.
No, Jordan took mine last week.
Oh, goodness. But y'all pretty much asked everything as far as any updates in the city, which was the bridge and the
I don't even know what to call that part. Yeah. It's been a disaster.
I will say this, the bridge crew has done better than the others.
Yeah, definitely.
If they have a problem, they notify us, right? Like when they accidentally drove over that, he called me and said, "Hey, we got water coming out of there." So we cleared it off, and the way our old pipes are in the system, you picture two pipes going together. Usually you picture like 8 bolts holding this thing together where they're anchored. These only have 2. Oof. They were no gaskets, no nothing. It's clearly compression coupling where you have 2 bolts that draw a rounded edge up in there. They had pushed that down and it was spraying. We cleared around it and crossed our fingers. I told that guy, I said, I think I can raise it up and stop it with the backhoe. So we strapped it, raised it up, and it quit. So we patched it up. We didn't have to patch it. All we had to do was compact the gravel underneath it and let it alone and
At
ask
least
them
when-
not to go across it anymore.
At least when they made a boo-boo, they told you
That's
about
right.
it on
They-
time and not
They
tried
were
to scoot
Johnny
it under
on
the road.
spot. It hadn't been, 15 minutes that had been leaking and,
They might learn from the last go
well, it wasn't that. That was the river crew.
Was that the
You mean
river
they didn't
crew
try
down?
digging up
Oh,
more
that,
concrete over
I
and
can
leave
give
for the
you some
weekend?
clarification on that.
That was.
I can only say that they have agreed to compensate the city for that damage.
That's good.
I don't know if I can say the amount.
Sorry?
I was thinking I could tell you the amount, but I don't think I can because it's a legal process. All I can tell you is they've agreed to compensate us for damage.
Go with that.
Yeah.
That'll help out.
In case anyone gripes at you about the flack of it having stone on the the floodway project as opposed to beautiful grass, someone has to cut that beautiful grass. So,
Done been through that about 5 or 6 times
all right,
already.
just checking.
That was posted, I don't care, it was posted by Mr. Wilder on Facebook. That why did they have gravels over there where they're doing the river widening? And that was, I will say, my idea, because we don't want to cut the grass and we need more parking when we have events downtown, like the Possum Fest.
Yeah.
They run it, there's parking all the way up through there.
Yep.
You can still see the creek if that so desires. You can
It'll all
see
be
that lovely
knotweed.
creek.
It'll all be Japanese knotweed in a few years.
And our mayor's going to expand the Possum Fest